very, very large school. National Honor Society member, finalist, National Honor Society, Presidential Award finalist, and she took those SATs, you know, that older version, for fun. She wanted to beat her own record. She was trying so hard to get to 1600, because she always had to want to be the best, do this. She got to 1570 or 8, you know, what, I gotta keep trying, Mom. You know, most kids will say, I don't want to do this, why do I have to take those tests, you know? But she could have gotten into any school, any college she wanted to. There was a lot of Ivy League schools after her. She came home one day and she says, Mom and Dad, I want to go to Duke. She says, you know why? It's warmer down there. All those Ivy League schools are so cold up there. And of course she looked at Notre Dame, was accepted there. She said, oh, you know how cold it is in South Bend, Mom and Dad. So we said, we wanted to. She was also not only very academically brilliant, but she was also a horsewoman. She was, you know, out there, athletic, being involved, and so she was co-captain of the equestrian team at Duke, and she just loved it there. She did so well. In 3 years, she graduated. Now, how many people do you know could do this? My husband and I looked at each other and said, no way, no way. 3 years, triple major, mathematics, economics, and philosophy. 3.6 or 7, was it? 3.6 out of 4.0. Can you imagine? I could have said, no. So then she thought, well, what we can do is she still had that kind of, what am I going to do to make a difference? I really want to think of something. But she loved numbers. She had her daddy's side of the family. She was really the daddy's girl. And so she wanted to go to a graduate school. She worked for a while in a finance job in New York for a little bit. And after 6 to 8 months, she said, I think I want to go back to school. So at 22, as I said before, she was accepted at she went through all those U.S. News and World Report, you know, where they ranked the schools. Well, I got to go to the #1 one. And she got into that school at 22 on full scholarship and a stipend. And we were so proud as a family. My son was there helping. We were going to move her to Philadelphia. We didn't know Pennsylvania that well. We didn't know. There was a serial rapist operating in the 3 or 4 square foot block right around Center City. And he would do his homework. He would break in the middle of the night, usually the same time. He'd stalk the person ahead of time so he knew how to get in and out of that apartment and get out safely. He wanted to be sure that nobody had a husband living with him, a roommate or a barking dog, right? So they were doing all these things. And guess what? We thought that's a great safe place. We're going to let her move in there. We didn't know what was going to happen. In the end of her first year, she had, by the way, gotten very involved in the community, and she was teaching over at West Philly Catholic High School. Here she is in this very demanding college program, graduate school program, with, you know, in a place like that, a school like that. And she was going over and volunteering and teaching in junior achievement to the inner city kids in West Philly Catholic High School, teaching them what a stock was, what a bond was, about bank accounts. She was helping neighbors do things. She was just really, really such a good human being, so much potential. Anyway, the guy had been stalking her for a couple of nights, but she didn't know because there were no alerts in the community. She thought somebody was going to try to pick her up because she was a very attractive person. But the night before she was supposed to come home, she was getting ready. I talked to her just a few hours before all the break-in happened, and she said, "Oh, Mom, I can't wait to come home. I got a great summer coming on. I'm going to write papers with Dad." And I said, "Good, we'll see you then. See you tomorrow." And my son was supposed to stay with her there that night. He was supposed to planning to come and stay. She said, "Oh, Sean, don't come up. I'm going to be late studying. I'm going to be really freaked out. I got my big finance exam, and then I have a study group I have to go to." And she said, "Don't come up. Why don't you come tomorrow at lunchtime after my exam, and we can chat." He was going up to Massachusetts to visit with some of his college friends where he had gone to school in Massachusetts. And so he wasn't there that night. And she was pouring the bath water in the back of the apartment. And this was probably during that 12 to 4 o'clock a.m. time that was fitting the same pattern in the community. And he would go in and do the rape and sexual assault and manage to get out of there. But the difference was with Shannon's case is she was pouring that water in the back and didn't hear him. He had shimmied up between the 2 brownstone buildings and jumped over on that balcony on the 2nd floor in the back. And while she was running the bath water, he was shimmying the lock on that screen door, and he got into her apartment. So you can imagine if you're coming out of that bathroom and you're naked and there's a total stranger, like, how in the heck did you get in? You know, she knew there wasn't somebody pushed the buzzer. There was no way it got in the locks. What was happening there? Well, the guy across the hall, 6 feet door to door in this old brownstone building, hears a scream. She screams in total shock. Someone's in that room. And he calls 911. He, says, I heard my neighbor screaming, I heard a choking sound. We have that tape. We knew it. He sounded very concerned and everything. The police got there in less than 5-6 minutes. And so by that time, some of the other students had come out and they were talking to them. And they said, well, we're knocking on the door. No answer. There's nobody sound like they're home. Maybe that scream came from an apartment building, one of the other apartments. Somebody had their TV on. That was a program on. Or maybe all that commotion you thought you heard was outside because there's a local bar. They left in less than 5 minutes. They said there's no signs of forced entry and there's no noise there. We just left. Okay? So the next day my son comes up there because he was going to have lunch with him. He goes over to school. All the students say, oh, well, Shannon, man, she didn't show up at the study group. She didn't come to the test. So I said to my son, go over to the house, push all those 6 buttons. I'm going to call the landlord. Just try to get in there. I didn't hear anything for a long time in my office. Eventually we got the worst call of our whole lives. You have to come up and identify the body. Now what we're going to tell you is what happened to us. That is what the part of the story that I always call how you become a murder victim family member. But what a lot of people don't understand is what happens to you and what we call the re-victimization by the social criminal justice system and what the problems that families go through that are horrible. Syl's got to share that.
Shannon was murdered on the early in the morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning, May the 7th, 1998. Sean and the neighbor discovered her body the next afternoon, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She did not show up for lunch with him. There was plenty of DNA evidence in the apartment. There had been quite a struggle, and she was tall. She was in good shape, very athletic. So there was quite a struggle. But we had DNA. Shannon was dead. We had no idea who killed her. The police initial theory was that it was somebody that she knew, that it was a relationship that had gone bad.